directed by Sam Mendes, and it sees Daniel Craig reprise his role as Bond for the third time. This film also stars Javier Bardem, Dame Judi Dench, Naomi Harris, Ben Whishaw, Ralph Fiennes, and the late Albert Finney. Skyfall is beyond a shadow of a doubt Bond's most personal and his most emotional mission to date. In it, we see a rogue MI6 agent, Silva, brilliantly played by Javier Bardem, out for revenge against M, and it is up to Bond to protect her at all costs. Skyfall was released in 2012, and 2012 was a definitive year. London was hosting the Olympics, so there was a spirit of patriotism in the air. There was a level of enthusiasm in the air. And also, Skyfall was released in 2012 to coincide with the release of the 50th anniversary of Dr. No, which was released in 1962. After the lackluster Quantum of Solace, producers and directors went back to the drawing board, and they brought Bond back with a bang. Now you try saying that 10 times. And they've given us easily one of the best Bond films ever. It's a far better film than Quantum of Solace, and it is also a superior rival to Casino Royale in terms of whether this is one of the best Bond films ever. And they've also given us a Bond film with a realistic plot, where it deals with cyber terrorism. Skyfall harks back to the Bond films of old, and it is a nod to the previous Bond films. From its glamorous locations, from Istanbul to Macau, Sam Mendes has crafted an excellent Bond film, loaded with excellent action sequences, but more importantly than that, brilliant performances. And I think his theatrical background helped that in terms of the acting scenes. From the opening sequence, from the riveting motorcycle chase in Istanbul, to Bond getting shot and falling off a bridge, to Thomas Newman's score, this is a film that has you gripped from the get-go and doesn't let you go to the very end. The performances in this film are the best I've ever seen in a Bond film. Daniel Craig has easily come out of the shadow of Sean Connery and has established himself as one of the best Bonds to date. This is I think, after Casino Royale, this is his best performance as Bond, but also this is his best performance as an actor. He has given us a Bond that we have not seen before. A Bond that is broken, that is vulnerable and emotionally damaged. And we learn more about Bond and his past than we have done in previous Bond films. And Daniel Craig, easily one of the best Bonds to do it. Also, Dame Judi Dench. Dame Judi Dench, one of the best actresses around. And this was a totally different performance for Dame Judi Dench. And Sam Mendes took a risk, purely because M is one of the main protagonists in Skyfall. If you look at previous Bond films, you have M giving Bond his mission, and then you see Bond go out on all these glamorous locations to fulfill his task. In this case, we see that M is one of the main protagonists, and she's heavily involved in the storyline. She has a lot more dialogue than Bond that we've seen in previous Bond films. There's more of an emotional connection than in previous Bond films. And it is a meatier role for her. Javier Bardem as Silva, I think he's one of the best and most realistic villains that we've had in a Bond film for a very, very long time. Far better than what we saw in Quantum of Solace, and just as menacing as Mads Mikkelsen's character, the Chief in Casino Royale. Ben Whishaw as Q. I liked what they did with the Q character. In the previous Bond films, the legendary Desmond Llewellyn, who played Q, it was the older guy educating the younger guy. In this film, the relationship and the dynamics have changed. It is now the younger guy trying to school the older guy and to meet some type of rapport with one another. The banter between the two of them is there, but it's not quite there as yet. And this marks the second collaboration between Ben Whishaw and Daniel Craig. These two previously worked together in the classic Layer Cake. And this film has an excellent supporting cast, rounded out by Naomi Harris, Ralph Fiennes, Albert Finney, Bernice Marlowe, who plays Severine. There is not a weak link in this film. I have to say that this has to be the most visually stunning Bond film to date. The cinematography in this film is gorgeous, and this is all thanks to the legendary Roger Deakins. Roger Deakins, one of the best to ever do it cinematography-wise. He did the cinematography for Shawshank Redemption. He won an Academy Award for Blade Runner 2049, and then he will collaborate with Sam Mendes again and win another Academy Award for cinematography in the excellent 1917. The visuals How he captures certain landscapes, the utilization of colours, it is just gorgeous. Even in London where he captures some of the landscapes, it is just brilliant. Sam Mendes as a director, he's given us a different style of Bond film. More importantly than that, what I noticed in this film was the fact that the second act of the film, the bulk of the action sequences take place around London. And I don't know whether this was a conscious effort purely because that London was hosting the Olympics, but it just added to the feel of the film. In previous Bond films, Bond goes on all of these glamorous locations, and the only nod to London that you see in a Bond film is sometimes the bus driving by the MI6 building. In this film, you see Westminster, you see Temple Tube Station, and even the finale takes place in Scotland. He's also brought back some of the humour that worked. It wasn't overloaded with humour, but the humour was placed at the right time. Bond meets Q for the first time. Bond wasn't impressed with the equipment that he was given. And Q asked him, oh, what were you expecting? An exploding pen? A nod to GoldenEye. Very clever. There's a tube station sequence where Bond has to catch the tube, and literally the tube is running. Bond is running after it because he realizes that Silver's on the tube. He jumps to the back of the tube, and then one of the passengers on the platform says, oh, he's keen to get home. So it's this clever but subtle humour that works. The score for this film is brilliant. Whereas David Arnold had done Quantum of Solace, Thomas Newman, a regular collaborator of Sam Mendes, who worked with him on American Beauty, and also would then go and collaborate with him further on 1917, has composed an excellent score for this film that reflects the mood that Skyfall has, which is it can be bleak, it can be hopeful, it can be intense. And the musical score works perfectly. And it captures those scenes and those moments perfectly, and it only enhances it to make it better. Skyfall has a lot of great scenes and a lot of great moments. But my favourite scene, bar none, is when M reads the Tennyson speech. That has to be one of the best moments in a Bond film, and if not in a film ever.
And here today I remember this, I think, from Tennyson. We are not now that strength which in old days moved earth and heaven. That which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield.
Just how beautifully it was filmed. Thomas Newman's score, you catch Bond running to try and rescue M, you see Silver trying to kill M, and just how it was all filmed makes it one of the most memorable moments in Bond history, and easily one of the greatest moments ever. Skyfall is a film that is loaded with surprises. And there's a spoiler for you. I think the biggest surprise for me was the passing of M in the finale sequence of Skyfall. I did not see that coming a mile away, and my jaw was to the floor when I saw how that ended. It was bleak, it was somber, it was brilliantly shot between Daniel Craig and Dame Judi Dench, and the way that the camera pans back from Bond is almost reminiscent of the finale sequence in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, where Bond's wife is shot dead by Blofeld, and you just see the camera pan away. And I thought, wow, the producers took a risk. And it was a great way to sign off Dame Judi Dench, who commanded that role for 17 years. One thing I've noticed about Daniel Craig's tenure as Bond is that how it differs from previous Bond films is that the finale, Bond doesn't always get the girl. There's no quick one-liner, it doesn't end on a high. The finale sequence of this film, it ends on a low. Bond loses someone who's almost like a mother to him. And it felt that way. And again, Thomas Newman's score just added to that moment. And it was a beautifully shot sequence, and easily one of the most jaw-dropping sequences in a Bond film. But after that surprising and somewhat depressing moment in the film, we are left with two of my favourite moments in Skyfall. Naomi Harris's character. And again, I have to say that this is due to clever writing. Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and John Logan compiled an excellent script. Naomi Harris' character, when she's first introduced into the film, she's seen driving a truck. She picks up Bond, but the key thing, Bond asks a question and brings up a point that we as an audience don't know. And he asked that question for us, which was, we've never formally been introduced. And when you look back on the film, she doesn't even reveal who she is. She just pops up at these odd moments, and then we discover who she is.
You know, we've never formally been introduced.
Oh. Well, my name's Eve. Eve Moneypenny.
I look forward to our time together, Miss Moneypenny.
Me too. I'm sure we'll have one or two close shaves.
Favourite scene, and I think this has to be the best, and the way that it just ended Skyfall perfectly. Where we see Bond go into the office, the old school Bond office, and he sees who his new boss will be.
How's the arm, sir?
What? Oh, it's fine. It'll get better. All pretty shocking for someone unused to field work. So, 007. Lots to be done. Are you ready to get back to work?
With pleasure, M. With pleasure.
I think a small flaw with Skyfall, again, it's just a minor one, was the fact that the story revolved around a disc that had the names of all secret agents undercover across the world. And that disc was stolen. We then discovered that in the first or second act of the film, the first few names are released on the web. Now that storyline falls by the wayside, and I would have liked to have seen that storyline concluded in some way. But at the same time, Skyfall brought Bond back with a bang. One of the best Bond films ever made. Great score. Great opening theme by Adele. And Sam Mendes did a great job with this film. One of my favourites, and it is one that I can watch time and time again. And when I took my niece and nephew to watch the film, they said, and after the ending, they're like, I've got to go watch it again. So I got that for them on DVD. So I'll give this film a very, very strong 10 out of 10. So that's my review. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you see, so you can get regular reviews from me, because there will be more. I'll be doing reviews from the 90s and from films that come out in 1995. Hit that alarm bell so you can get notifications from me when my video is going to be uploaded. Let me know what was your favourite scene in Skyfall. What's your favourite Bond film from Daniel Craig's tenure thus far? Leave your comments, and I shall see you on the next film review. Take care, guys.